All right, so Be'ezrat Hashem. So we continue. We are in Perek Kuf Tetzvav, right, in Tehillim. Although in the Sidurim, that Perek is broken into 2 chapters. In the Tehillim, it's 1 chapter, right? So now we start as part of the Hallel, or Hallel Agadol, right? Because that's 1 Perek we say anyways. We start Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech, right? It's still part of the chapter Kuf Tetvav. Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech, Yevarech et Bet Israel, Yevarech et Bet Aharon. Hashem, remember our memories. Right? Bless Zecharanu Yevarech. Bless our memories. We're going to understand what that means. Yevarech et Bet Israel, he will bless Bet Israel. Yevarech et Bet Aaron, and he will bless Bet Aaron. Yevarech, that's Pasuk. Yud Bet, Pasuk Yud Gimel. Yevarech Yirei Hashem, he will bless the ones that fear him. Haketanim im hagedolim, the small ones with the big ones. We're going to continue because it's one, right? Yosef Hashem Alechem, he will add on of his beracha upon you, Alechem ve'al benechem, upon you and upon your children. Beruchim atem l'Hashem, you are blessed to Hashem. Oseh Shamayim, who makes the sky, va'aretz, and the earth. So the Maharal starts by clarifying something. When he says, when David HaMelech says, Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech, he will bless our memories. Zecharanu can also mean our male, right? Zachar, male and female, Zachar and Nekeva. Zachar and Nekeva, right? Male and female. He says, no, we cannot make the mistake that Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech, that he blessed the men. No. What it means, because David would have said Zecharenu. Sorry, Zecharenu, right? If it would refer to man, to male, it would be Zecharenu, not Zecharan. So he says, Zecharanu. What does it mean? Hashem blesses our memories. He says here, there is a new dimension of beracha that we haven't seen since the beginning of the Hallel, which is adding on bracha, right? Adding on the Shem Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech, Hashem with his name, he blesses our memories with his name, meaning he takes his name, the dimension of his name, the bracha of his name, and applies it upon our memories. And what is Zecharan? What does that mean, Zecharanu? He says something beautiful. He says Zecharanu means our name. How does a person is referred to? How do you remember a person? By his name. How do you identify a person? By his name. Shem, right? Shlomo HaMelech, he says in Mishle, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, right? Veshem Reshaim Yekar. Hashem, remember the Tzadik, and for the beracha, and gives him beracha. And the name of the Reshaim, Yirkav, are destroyed, are rotten. Amen. Are rotten. Says the Maharal, if you want to remember someone, you remember that person by his name. You identify him by his name. That's the Zecharanu. Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech. He connects to our name, and through our name brings out all the actions and all the memories and all the past of the person. That's Zecharanu. And here comes David HaMelech and says, there is a dimension of Am Yisrael that is beyond just the bracha that Hashem brings onto the creation, and that's called Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech. So says the Maharal, this is why it's so important when we give a name to give a good name, so that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to shower the extra beracha on the person, he brings it upon that person based on his name. If the name is a good name, if the name is a blessed name, right? The point of connection to remember that person will start with good. This is why we're so careful with the name. Meidach also, this is why it's so important when you give a name to someone to call him by his name. Right? Somebody's called Yosef, you're not going to call him Yossi, you call him Yosef. Right? If you, I don't know, somebody's called Yaakov, don't call him Jack. It's Yaakov. Because the more you call the name by the person by his name, and the more you allow HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give this extra dimension of beracha upon that person. Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech. Right? And says the Maharal, when you have a good name, when your name is with Tov Shem Mishem and Tov, when your actions are good and they are aligned with the name that you carry, right? All it takes is a zecher, is a remembering. You don't, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not need the essence of the name to be applied in your actions in order to bring the tosefet of the beracha, the extra beracha. It's enough that you have good actions, right? That you're a tzaddik, and then zecher tzaddik livracha. We don't say Shem tzaddik livracha. The name of the tzaddik brings beracha. We say zecher tzaddik livracha. It's enough that I remember you through your actions, right? In order to bring upon you all the extra beracha. Normally, in order to bring you the extra beracha, you need to have a good name, right? Your name has to be a vessel to receive that beracha. But when your actions are aligned and honoring your name, right? It's enough. The zecher, the remember, right? When you talk about someone, you mention his name, it automatically you start remembering who that person is and what his actions are. Right? You give a name. Right, this is a tzaddik, or this guy is a crook, or this. You identify the actions of a person to the name, right? So normally, in order to have extra beracha, to apply Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech, right? To Hashem Yevarech, right? You need to have a good name, and that good name, that name that is good, the name, that's what we name people by the name of the Torah, right? Why do we name with the Shemot, with names of the Torah? Because we want the name to be a keli, to be a vessel, to receive the berach, right? So that usually is what you need to get the beracha. But if you're a tzaddik, then it's enough that your actions are good, right? That you identify the behavior of the person to the name, for it to trigger tremendous beracha, extra beracha. We don't have to get all the way to the name and its essence to get the beracha. You understand what I'm saying? It's there is a very fine nuance. By the Rasha, v'shem reshaim yirkav. They're reshaim in the essence. It's not only the actions that they do that is bad, but when you get to the name, it awakes the beracha. The reshaim, even their name is mikulkal. Even their name is bad. So comes David HaMelech and says, Hashem zecharanu yevarech. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Am Yisrael the ability and the koach to be blessed with an extra abundance by their actions without having to tap into the beracha of the name. So what do we see? We see that the name is the essence of the beracha. Is what you have to fall back on for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give you this extra beracha. Right? You have the name and on top you have the actions. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it that the actions that are not your essence, but a byproduct of your essence is enough to trigger the beracha. Am I clear?
Yes, I'm processing.
When you call someone by his name, yeah, you bring extra beracha upon that person based on the name. You call someone Adam, Shelomo, David, Moshe.
Assuming the name has beracha with it.
Yeah, but that's why we give. This is why when we give a name, we always give. What's the Hebrew name? What's the Hebrew name? Why do you give a Hebrew name? Is it a joke? We were playing around.
Right.
No, we're giving a name that has beracha. We're giving a name that has beracha. So by giving a name that has beracha, and you call that person by that name, zecher tzadik livracha, right? You give the beracha to that person through the name itself. So when I call you Adam, by calling you Adam, I trigger the extra beracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has put aside for Am Yisrael.
Understood.
That's why when we go to La Torah, we call the person by his name. Or when we do something Le'ilu Nishmat, we do Le'ilu Nishmat and we mention the name. Because we tap into that extra abundance of beracha to be showered upon the person. A person that you want to eradicate, you don't even say his name. You call him Aher. Like, for example, the Gemara talks about the teacher of Rabbi Meir Ba'al HaNes. His name was Elisha ben Abuya. Elisha ben Abuya. Okay? When he lost his way and he turned his back on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chachamim stopped calling him by his name. They called him Aher, the other one. The other one. Why? So that he doesn't get the benefit of the extra abundance of the beracha of Hashem by calling him Elisha ben Abuya. Call him Aher. Aher. When someone you don't want to respect someone, you say this one. Yeah? This guy. Yeah. If you like someone, you will say his name. If you don't like the person, you're not going to mention his name. Now you have names that don't trigger nothing. And you have names that triggers extra beracha. That's why it's so important to give a good name. Good? Now,
clear.
On top of what the extra beracha a person gets when you call the person by his name, the tzaddik, right, his actions, right, that are not the name, it's connected to the name, are enough to trigger beracha, this extra dimension of beracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put aside on Am Yisrael. And that's what it means. Hashem zecharanu yevarech. HaKadosh Baruch Hu blesses us with our memories. What does it mean? With the actions that are attributed to the name. He doesn't need to get to the name to give us this beracha. That's the tremendous beracha HaKadosh Baruch Hu put aside for us. So a person through his actions can tap into that extra abundance of beracha without having to be called by his name. Sod Hashemot, the sword of the Shem, the secret of the Shem. This is the impact a name has on a person. So apropos, yeah, Be'ezrat Hashem, B'Sha'at Tova, the Semachot coming, yeah. Okay, it's incredible how it's so aligned, yeah. The Borei Minei Besamim and now Shemot, the
Amazing.
Koach of the Shem, yeah.
Amazing.
Incredible. Even if we wanted, we couldn't align it so perfectly. Akadosh Baruch Hu, says the Maharal, remembers the person and relates to the person by his Shem, So when you give a name, you need to call the person by that name. It's important every day to call the person by that name. Your kids, you have to call them by that name. Hashem zecharanu yevarech. And then yevarech et bet Israel. That beracha is to bet Israel because we are the kids of Am Yisrael, like we spoke last shiur. Yeah, in last shiur we mentioned how they have 3 levels, right? You have Bet Israel, Bet Aaron, Yirei Hashem, right? Bet Israel, the kids of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bet Aaron, the ones that serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Be'ahava, Yirei Hashem, from fear, from Yirah. So that extra abundance of beracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu attributed to Am Yisrael, Yevarech et Bet Israel. It's applied on Bet Israel. Yevarech et Bet Aaron. It's applied on Bet Aaron, on the ones that serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'ahava. Yevarech Yirei Hashem. It's also applied to the ones that fear Hashem. You know which one? HaKetanim im HaGedolim. The small ones and the big ones. The ones that have a little bit of Yirat Shamayim and the ones that have a lot of Yirat Shamayim. And says the Maharal, what does it mean? HaKetanim im HaGedolim, the small ones with the big ones. The ones that I hear, the ones that are the source of beracha, the Gedolim, right? They will also bless the Ketanim. The bracha that comes to the Gadol, through the Gadol also comes to the Katan. HaKetanim, the small ones with the big ones. The small ones, the ones that have a little bit of Yirat Shamayim, they benefit from the beracha of the ones that are Gedolim, that have a lot of Yirat Shamayim. This is the ahva. This is the connection that Am Yisrael have. So when someone brings a beracha, you make a beracha. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees your actions and showers you with the extra abundance of beracha. It doesn't only affect you. It affects you and the ones that are below you. HaKetanim im HaGedolim. Yosef Hashem alechem ve'al benechem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu adds on more beracha. Alechem, upon you, ve'al benechem, upon your kids. So we see that it's a multi-direction and multi-dimension, the beracha. It's not only the focal person and the principle that gets the beracha. Yosef Hashem alechem ve'al benechem. HaKetanim im HaGedolim. Says the Maharal, when is someone blessed? When he sees that his parents are blessed and when he sees that his kids are blessed. A person that is truly blessed doesn't see anyone left out. If, for example, you are blessed, but Khalila, your kids are not blessed, you're not blessed. It's not a complete beracha. When your kids are blessed, but your parents are not blessed, it's not a complete beracha. The complete beracha is when when not only you are blessed, but you are blessed, you and the gedolim and your parents and the ketanim and your children. Yosef Hashem alechem ve'al benechem. This is the power of the extra beracha HaKadosh Baruch Hu put aside for Am Yisrael. That a person can trigger or through Hazkarat Hashem, or by mentioning the name of the person, or through the actions of the tzaddik that are enough to trigger that beracha. Comes David HaMelech and opens a complete new dimension of showering of beracha to our eyes. And this is why we praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person, when a person mentions a name, again, you have to understand how far the Maharal went with those pesukim in the Tehillim. The Maharal teaches us that when a person mentions a name, because if I call you now, I say, Shlomo, I love you. Why do I call you Shlomo? Why do I call you Adam? Why do I call you Meir? Because I care for you, because I respect you, because I love you, because your actions are good, right? Are good to me. So when I mention you by your name, I unlock this extra beracha, this extra abundance of beracha Kadosh Baruch Hu has put aside for Am Yisrael to come and shower upon you. But in order for you to be mevorach, HaKadosh Baruch Hu not only blesses you, but he blesses the gedolim and the ketanim. He blesses your parents so that you're mevorach, and he blesses your kids so that you're mevorach. You have actions of a tzaddik, and we don't need to get to the name in order to tap into that extra beracha. Your actions shower beracha upon the gedolim and upon the ketanim. Here we see how the name is so critical, but also how your actions are an extension of the name. And even without the azkara, even without saying the name, your actions trigger that beracha. This is the power HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us when we do something right, when we call someone because he's a good person. This is the sod of Tov Shem Mishemen Tov. The Shemen is Tov, but the Shemen is here. It's limited. It's what you have. The oil is what you have in front of you in your bottle, in your barrel. But Tov Shem, when we talk about the name, the Tov comes before the Shem. There's an abundance of Tov before the Shem. But when you talk about the Shemen is here and it's good, right? That you understand the difference in the wording of Chachamim. Tov Shem, the Tov is good. Yeah, it's indefinite. And and Tov Shem, and that showers upon the Shem. That's the extra, the unlimited abundance that comes upon the Shem. But the Shemen, which is definite, the oil, when you talk about oil, is definite, Tov. Tov Shem Mishemen Tov. That's why we say it this way. That's why Chachamim said it this way. This is what David HaMelech tells us here. And then, Beruchim atem l'Hashem, you are blessed to Hashem, Oseh shamayim va'aretz. Here, the Maharal brings a new dimension. He says, after David HaMelech tells us that if you have good actions, right? You're following me? If you have good actions and you are at the level of Zecher Tzadik Livracha, right? and your actions are enough to trigger that beracha. And you don't need Shem Tzadik Livracha, right? Like we said. Shlomo HaMelech, he says, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, Veshem Reshaim Yirkav. Hashem remembered the actions of the Tzadik, Livracha, and the name of the Reshaim, not only his actions are rotten, but his name is rotten, right? So he said, Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech, Hashem blesses us from the extra abundance just by our actions, like Zecher Tzadik Livracha. And then he comes and he says, Beruchim atem Hashem, you are blessed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oseh Shamayim Va'aretz, that does presently, Oseh, not Asa, not that he did. Oseh, that does continuously, every second. Mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit, like we say in the Tefillah. Shamayim va'aretz, he says Shamayim va'aretz. He says, why does David HaMelech, says Maral, addresses Oseh Shamayim va'aretz? He does Shamayim and Eretz. He says, because with the right hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the Shamayim. With the left hand, he created the Aretz. So you are blessed with both hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not only with one hand, with both hands, with the right hand and the left hand, with the hand that created Shamayim and the hand that created Aretz. Af yadi yasda erez v'yimini tipeha shamayim. Yeshaya says, Af yadi, even my hand yasda aretz, made the earth, which is the left hand. V'yimini, and my right, tipeha shamayim, made the shamayim, made the skies. The Ramban tells us, Bereshit bara Elokim et hashamayim ve'et ha'aretz. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created two distinctive creation from nothing. One that is called Shamayim and one that is called Eretz. We have two different Phinot. We have two different creations. We have the creation of the right and we have the creation of the left. The creation of spirituality and the creation of physicality. Hashem Zecharanu Yevarech, or Beruchim Atem Lashem, you are blessed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with these two hands. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you an extra abundance of Beracha from his right, which is Shamayim, the skies, which represent spirituality. And you have the extra beracha from the left, from Eretz, from the physicality. Kadosh Baruch Hu brings his two hands and give you beracha. This is why when we bless our kids, we bless them with our two hands. Right? Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, you will bless Yehoshua. Sim yadecha al rosho, put your hand on his hand. Vayasem yadav. Moshe Rabbeinu had a good eye. What did he do? He didn't just bless Yehoshua with one hand. He blessed Yehoshua with two hands. Right? And when we bless, okay, we know that the Kohanim also, they bless with two hands. Halacha lemaaseh, it's an issue. Are you allowed to put the two hands when you bless someone? Because maybe you do something only Kohanim are allowed to do, right? When you go like that. According to the Gaon Mivina tells us, you put the left hand and then you put the right hand on top of the hand if you're not a Kohen, so that this is not considered the Birkat Kohanim, because the Birkat Kohanim have to split their hand, right? But the right hand has to be on top of the left hand because the Shamayim is on top of Aretz, right? So you take your yamin and you put it on the small. You take your right hand and put it on the left hand, on top of the head of your beloved one, and you give them the beracha.
Rav,
this is what it means. Beruchim atem Lashem oseh shamayim va'aretz. Now, there is one little issue with this that we need to address. Is that the pasuk that the Maharal speaks about in Yeshaya, or Af yadi yasda eretz v'yimini tipeha shamayim, that my left hand did the earth, and my left, established the Shamayim, the skies. We have a problem. Why? Because the Gemara in Masechet Ketubot, Daf He Amud Aleph, Darash Bar Kapara, Bar Kapara said, Gedolim Maaseh Tzadikim, the actions of the Tzadikim is greater than the Maaseh Shamayim Ba'aretz. Then Yoter Maaseh Shamayim, then the greater than the actions of the creation of the earth. Why? Because by Maaseh Tzadikim, Mechol Shivtecha Pa'alta Hashem Mikedash Hashem Kodenu Yadecha. Sorry. Yeah. The Maaseh Yadecha, the product of your hands is what? Referring to the tzaddikim. The tzaddikim are made with two hands. However, Yadi Yazda Eretz V'miniti Pecha Shamayim, Bar Kapara wants to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually created the world with one hand, not with two hands. Like the Maharal wants to refer to. But the tzaddikim are made with two hands. The maskana of this Gemara is that the two hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu are the hand of the tzaddikim, and the tzaddikim basically bring the entire creation together. They bring beracha not only in Shamayim but also in Eretz. So this is why the tzaddikim have the ability to impact not only spiritual world but physical world also. You understand? In Ketubot Daf He Amud Aleph. How does the tzaddikim have this impact? Through their tefillot, through their actions. They can change nature. So the tzaddikim learn Torah, they do tikkunim b'shamayim, but they can also change nature. They're the second hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They are the hand, they are inside the right hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu because they are the byproduct of the Shamayim. But they are the extension of the left hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the creation of the earth and the influence of the earth. Beruchim atem laHashem. You know why you're blessed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Says Shamayim va'aretz. That He does Shamayim va'aretz through you. Through the fact that you're a tzaddik and through the fact that you are the extension of His hands, He does Shamayim va'aretz. This is the beracha of the tzaddikim. And this is zecher tzaddik livracha. Now we understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need to get to your name in order to bring the extra abundance. When you're a tzaddik, it's enough. Your actions that are the extension of the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is enough to bring the extra abundance. In Keter Malchut of the Ben Ishrai, in Siman Resh Yud Dalet, the Ben Ishrai brings in the name of Rabbi Chaim Vital, that in I think from Sha'ar Kavanot, that you should not put your hands in your back, walk with the hands in the back. It's not good. It's not good. I heard from Rabbeinu HaKadosh, from Rav Moshe Shapira, he told me when he was seeing people walking with their hands in their back, these people, they put their life in danger. Just walking with your hands in the back. Yeah? You will see a lot of people do it, they don't even pay attention. A lot of people do it, put their hands in the back. Very bad. Why? The Gemara in Masechet Pesachim Daf Nun Vav Amud Aleph. The Gemara tells us about Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu wanted to reveal the Geulah when Mashiach will come to his kids, right? Parashat Vayechi. Vayikra Yaakov Evanav, he called all his kids. Bikesh, Rashi tells us. He wanted to reveal them the ketz, the end. But the Gemara adds one word that Rashi doesn't have. Bikesh legalot lahem ketz hayamin. Ketz hayamin, the end of the right. Rashi said, what? When will the right hand of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that is in his back will come forward? Rashi explains that all the galuyot, all the tsarot, all the koshi, all the pain that comes to the world is because the right of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is hidden in his back. He's not in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but in his back of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And because of that, Am Israel and the world suffers from the galut. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu will put his right hand back forward and not leave it in the back, that's when the Geulah will come. We see that when your right hand is when your hands are in the back, kivyachol, yeah, you are now tied up, right? How do you neutralize the actions of a person? By putting his hands in the back. Yeah? When you put cufflinks, handcuffs. Sorry, cufflinks. When you handcuff someone, you put his hand in the back. When his hands are in the back, he's neutralized. No more beracha, no more actions, no nothing, right? Al pi Torah, the hands are in front of us to do actions, to bring beracha. This is what David HaMelech is telling us according to the Maharal. You want the beracha from the Ares and from Shamayim, your hands have to be forward. So here, in this portion of the Tehillim, and we're going to stop here. In this portion of the Tehillim, because we're going into another, David HaMelech brings forward the ability that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to each and every one of us to tap into the extra abundance. What does extra abundance mean? It means beracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put for the tzaddikim for being tzaddik. That it goes beyond what your actions really deserve. You have the beracha that comes to the world al pidin, right? And then you have the beracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put aside for be aligned with it. For doing your Ratzon Hashem, you do Ratzon Hashem, you do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Not only gives you what you deserve, but he can give you even more than that. More beracha. How do we tap into it? By calling the person by the name of a tzaddik, Zecher Tzaddik Libracha. By calling a person by Shem Tov, Tov Shem and Mishem Tov, Tov Shem. You have a good name, you connect to the Tov, the abundance of Tov that is completely limitless. But if you focus to the Shemen Tov, it could be good, but the Shemen is limited. Comes David HaMelech, you need a Shem Tov, you need a good name, you need the name of tzaddikim, and when you call people that you love, call them by their good name. Your kids, if they have a nickname or they have a name that is also like a kinui, we call them kinui, right? Like a nickname, yeah. But they also have a Hebrew name. Make sure every day, at least you call them once with their Hebrew name. Because you unlock, by calling them with the Hebrew name, the extra beracha has for them.
Wow.
Every day you have to call them by their Hebrew name, by the name of tzaddikim, of tzadkaniyot. Every day. We don't understand, we don't realize the koach, the power of beracha and of abundance we trigger just by calling them by the good name. On top of that comes David HaMelech and tells us, when you add to that good deeds, yeah, we don't need to call upon the good name to trigger all that beracha. The actions themselves do it. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu's love to us and definition of beracha to us is so accurate and so beautiful and so good that HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us, when you tap into that abundance of beracha, not the beracha you deserve, kivyachol, not the beracha that is for you, the beracha the extra beracha you are, that beracha not only comes to you, but it comes to you and it comes to your parents and to your children, and that's how you complement the tremendous beracha, and you pass it on through the hands. Tzaddik through the hands. Kacha. Well, that's what we learn from that portion of the Hallel. How much HaKadosh Baruch Hu has put in place for us. We just need to go and know how to take it.
Beautiful.
Baruch Hashem.
I have a few questions. Can we do it off the
Yes,
recording?
yes.